morning everyone. Today we are going to start the next chapter of economics, that is chapter number 2, sectors of Indian economy. Sectors of Indian economy, that means कि Indian economy को चलाने के लिए कितने sectors की हमें requirement है और कौन-कौन से sectors होते हैं. आप लोगों ने 9th class में भी पढ़ा होगा that there are 3 sectors which we use to run the economy. That is 1 primary sector, second secondary sector और थर्ड होता है टर्शियरी सेक्टर. ये 3 सेक्टर्स पे इंडियन इकोनॉमी चलती है. अब बात करते हैं इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी की. कोई भी चीज या कोई भी एक्टिविटी करने के लिए जिससे हमें पैसा मिलता है, when we do an activity to earn money, then it is known as economic activity. इसका एक एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको दे देती हूँ. Suppose a teacher is teaching in a school, she is getting paid for it, she is getting salary for it, then it is an economic activity. But your mother is cooking food for you at home, you are not giving any kind of payments to her, so that is a non-economic activity. She is doing it willingly. Okay, उसको हम non-economic activity कहते हैं. तो कोई भी एक्टिविटी जो पैसा अर्न करने के लिए की जाए उसको इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी में कंसिडर किया जाता है. ये हमारी जीडीपी में कंट्रीब्यूट करती है. जीडीपी ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट, हमारी कंट्री की जो इनकम है उस इनकम में इसका कंट्रीब्यूशन होता है. हम तीनों सेक्टर्स की इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज को टोटल करते हैं और वो हमारी जीडीपी होती है. आई बात समझ में? अब बात करते हैं प्राइमरी एक्टिविटी की. दिस इज योर लास्ट ईयर्स टॉपिक, सो आई एम रिवाइजिंग इट फॉर यू वंस अगेन. प्राइमरी एक्टिविटी, एनी एक्टिविटी व्हिच इज रिलेटेड टू एनवायरनमेंट. जो एनवायरनमेंट से रिलेटेड है वो प्राइमरी एक्टिविटी में कंसीडर किया जाएगा. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट एग्रीकल्चर, माइनिंग, एनिमल हस्बेंड्री, etc. All these things are considered in a primary activity. Am I clear? Now move towards secondary activity. Secondary activity means जहाँ raw material को finished goods में change किया जाता है. Finished goods means complete goods में, उसको हम कहते हैं secondary sector. इसके अंदर क्या आएगा? raw material को finished goods में कहाँ change करते हैं? इंडस्ट्रीज में. ठीक है, इंडस्ट्रीज जहाँ पे भी होती है उनका काम यही होता है कि वो रॉ मटेरियल से फिनिश गुड्स में प्रोडक्ट्स को क्या करें? चेंज करें, ट्रांसफर करें. ठीक है. थर्ड, टर्शियरी सेक्टर. टर्शियरी सेक्टर मींस सर्विस सेक्टर. इसके अंदर जितनी भी चीजों का लेन देन होता है वो टैंजिबल गुड्स नहीं होते हैं. दे आर इनटैंजिबल इन नेचर, मींस यू कैन नॉट टच देम. फॉर एग्जांपल बैंकिंग, communication, transportation. That is why this sector is known as service sector as well. जब हम services provide करते हैं to the consumer or to the customer, then it is known as tertiary sector. Am I clear with my point? इन तीनों की definition, इन तीनों का product जब हम प्राइमरी सेक्टर की इनकम, सेकेंडरी wheat, then we convert that wheat into a flour, then we use oils, other essentials like sugar and many more things. Then we convert that wheat into a biscuit. We bake them and other things we include. So biscuit is a final product, and all the things which we are using to make the biscuit as a raw material, then it is known as a intermediate goods. Okay, the value of final goods are added in the production. जब प्रोडक्शन का जो फाइनल गुड्स का वैल्यू होता है, सिर्फ वो ही हम लोग जीडीपी में ऐड करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल लाइक व्हीट इट कॉस्ट 10 रुपीज, फ्लोर इट कॉस्ट 15 रुपीज, ऑयल प्लस शुगर एंड अदर एसेंशियल आइटम्स जिसके थ्रू बिस्किट बना है, देन इट कॉस्ट 25 रुपीज. तो बिस्किट की जो फाइनल गुड्स की प्राइस है दैट बिकम्स 35 रुपीज. अब क्या हुआ कि अगर हम लोग सारी चीजों में ऐड करने लगेंगे जीडीपी के अंदर, तो उससे क्या होगा कि हमारे पास में एक प्रोडक्ट का इतनी बार चीज ऐड हो जाएगी. ठीक है, तो वो चीज गलत है, कैलकुलेशन में मिस्टेक हो गई. सो नाउ टू सॉल्व अप दिस प्रॉब्लम ओनली द वैल्यू ऑफ फाइनल गुड्स आर यूज्ड टू इंक्लूड इन अ जीडीपी. दिस इज अ फाइनल गुड and this final goods value is 35 rupees which is going to be added in the GDP from each sector. Like अगर मैं ये सेकेंडरी सेक्टर का एग्जाम्पल हो गया, उसी तरीके से प्राइमरी सेक्टर का, उसी तरीके से टर्शरी सेक्टर का, हर तरीके का जो फाइनल गुड होता है उस फाइनल गुड को ही हम लोग, उस फाइनल इनकम को ही, फाइनल गुड्स की इनकम को ही हम लोग जीडीपी में क्या करते हैं, ऐड करते हैं. ओके, now these all three are intermediate goods. I have written over here, and this is a final good. Okay, now the value of final goods and services produced in each year are included in total production within the country is called GDP. जो final goods और services की value पूरे साल में प्रोड्यूस होती है हमारी कंट्री के अंदर, विद इन द कंट्री, उसका टोटल प्रोडक्शन जो होता है उसको हम जीडीपी कहते हैं. फुल फॉर्म ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट. Am I clear? Now as we can see that the influence of tertiary sector is increasing continuously. अगर हम पुराना डेटा निकाल के देखते हैं आपकी सीबीएसई बुक्स में जो डेटा दिया हुआ है उसके अकॉर्डिंग, तो उसमें हमारे टर्शरी सेक्टर, 3 सेक्टर हमारे होते हैं, प्राइमरी, सेकेंडरी और टर्शरी. टर्शरी सेक्टर का इन्वॉल्वमेंट काफी ज्यादा है, इसके अंदर प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा है और ऐसा कहा जाता है कि इसके अंदर इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ पीपल भी बहुत ज्यादा है. ऐसा क्यों है? ओके, सो देयर आर 4 रीजंस गिवन इन योर बुक दैट व्हाई टर्शरी सेक्टर इज इम्पोर्टेंट. ओके, सो 4 reasons says that first of all कि tertiary sector include करता है several kind of services. बहुत सारे services include होती है. tertiary sector को हम service sector भी बोलते हैं, आपको पता है ये बात. अब service sector के अंदर यानी बहुत सारी services include होती हैं, जैसे कि banking, communication, transportation, एक्सेट्रा. जैसे बहुत सारी सर्विसेज इंक्लूड होती हैं, उसी तरीके से काफी सारे लोग इसको हेल्प में लेते हैं जिससे वो कंट्री को डेवलप फॉर्म में देख सकें. ठीक है, सो दीज आर द बेसिक सर्विसेज व्हिच इज प्रोवाइडेड बाय द टर्शरी सेक्टर. ओके, एंड दीज बेसिक सर्विसेज आर रिक्वायर्ड बाय एवरीवन इन आवर कंट्री, सो दे आर गिविंग इम्पोर्टेंस टू टर्शरी सेक्टर. एक तो फर्स्ट रीजन ये हो गया. तो वो पूरा नहीं सेल हुआ, तो उसी तरीके से उसको भी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन की जरूरत है, उसको भी वेयर हाउस की जरूरत है, उसको भी इंश्योरेंस की जरूरत है, उसको कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए जगह चाहिए, उसको मार्केट एरिया चाहिए, ठीक है, उसको सेलिंग करने वाले बंदे चाहिए, सेलिंग पर्सन चाहिए, सेल्स पर्सन चाहिए. So there are number of facilities which is provided by the tertiary sector. That is why agriculture and industry are also dependent on tertiary sector for selling their particular product. Okay, third reason क्या कि लोगों के पास में जॉब्स की वैरायटी बढ़ गई. जॉब की वैरायटी बढ़ने से उनकी इनकम क्या हो गई, इंक्रीज हो गई. जब उनका इनकम लेवल इंक्रीज हो गया, then what happens, they require a good lifestyle. लाइफस्टाइल इंक्रीज हो गई, अच्छी हो गई, बढ़ गई. कैसे? ब्रांडेड क्लॉथ्स, फूड, मॉल्स, पब्लिक गैदरिंग, all these things affect a person lifestyle. ठीक है, अब उसको जब उसकी लाइफस्टाइल अच्छी है, उसकी इनकम अच्छी है, तो उसको फैसिलिटीज चाहिए. ये फैसिलिटीज कौन प्रोवाइड करेगा? ये ना प्राइमरी प्रोवाइड करता है, ना सेकेंडरी प्रोवाइड करता है. ये फैसिलिटी कौन प्रोवाइड करेगा? टर्शरी सेक्टर प्रोवाइड करेगा. तो आई हैव गिवन यू 3 रीजंस दैट व्हाई टर्शरी सेक्टर इज इंपॉर्टेंट. Am I clear? Now come to fourth. Over the past decade or so, certain new services such as those based on information and communication technology have become an important and essential part of our life. For example, इसका सीधा एग्जांपल आपकी लाइव क्लासेस से चलता है. अभी कोरोना वायरस की वजह से आप घर पे हैं, ठीक है, you cannot come to school, we cannot take your class. But from the technology of live classes, we are giving you lectures. We are providing you the video lectures so that your study do not suffer. Okay, your course do not suffer. Am I clear? So this is also a method where communication and technology is helping in every form, and this service is provided by tertiary sector only. Okay, आपको प्राइमरी ये सर्विस नहीं दे रहा, ये सेकेंडरी आपको सर्विस नहीं दे रहा. ये सर्विस जो आपको कम्युनिकेशन और टेक्नोलॉजी की मिल रही है, वो कौन दे रहा है? वो आपको टर्शरी सेक्टर दे रहा है. Am I clear with my point? So now it is very much easy for you all to write down the 4 reasons that why tertiary sector is in demand and why people are facing towards the tertiary sector. Am I clear with my point? Okay, thank you. Okay children, let's move towards the next topic, that is where are most of the people employed. As I have shown you that so many reasons that about the rising importance of tertiary sector in the production. So you must be very much clear that the maximum people must be employed in the tertiary sector only. But this is not right. If we compare the graphs of 1970 and 2009, there is an increase in the rise of tertiary sector employment, but earlier the primary sector people were mostly employed in the field. Okay, and now why the importance have been shifted towards the tertiary sector? Because much more jobs and much more employment facilities have been created in the secondary and tertiary sector. Okay, so when we see that so many people, the importance of primary sector has been declining. Okay, so then what happened? More than half of the workers in the country are working in primary sector. आपको ये चीज़ पता है कि maximum population of India is working in under a primary sector, but still the percentage of primary sector GDP is very much less. Okay, in contrast to this, the secondary and tertiary sector produce 3/4 of produce where they employ less than half of the people. This means that the workers in agriculture are not producing as much as they could. What it means, and that there are more people in agriculture than is necessary. What means by this? That more than required. There are number of people, those who are not required in the primary sector, but still they are working over there, and there is no effect on productivity. Okay, this type of working is known as underemployed working. Fine enough. uh, let me explain you with the example. Let us take a case of a small farmer. She is Lakshmi. Okay, Lakshmi is a small farmer who is having a land of 2 hectares, which is unirrigated land, and she is mostly dependent on the rain for irrigation, as and growing crops like jowar and arhar. Okay, so she has 5 members in her family, and throughout the year they work on the same plot, same land. Why this is so? Because they are not having any else work to do. All right, so they, no one sits idle, but in actual fact their labor effort is getting divided. Each one is doing some work, but no one is fully employed in that plot. This is the situation of underemployment, where people are apparently working, but all of them are made to work less than their potential. This kind of underemployment is hidden, in contrast to someone who does not have a job and is clearly visible as unemployed. If I explain you this definition in a easy language, then we can say that a person who seems to be working, but there is no effect on production, then it is known as disguised unemployment. Am I clear? Okay, now suppose a landlord, सुखराम, एक लैंडलॉर्ड है सुखराम जिसका नाम है, comes and hires 1 or 2 members of family to work on his land. वो लक्ष्मी के पास जाता है, ठीक है, और वहाँ से बोलता है कि मुझे तुम्हारी फैमिली में से 2 मेंबर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट है जिनको मैं अपने खेत पे काम करवा सकूँ. लक्ष्मी फैमिली इज़ नाउ एबल टू अर्न सम एक्स्ट्रा इनकम थ्रू वेजेस. अब क्या हुआ कि 2 जो बंदे उसी फील्ड पे काम कर रहे थे, 5 जने एक ही फील्ड पे काम कर रहे थे, उसमें से 2 जने क्या हुआ दूसरी जगह पे जाके काम करने लग गए. ठीक है, तो उनकी क्या हो गई, इनकम थोड़ी सी बढ़ गई. दे स्टार्टेड गेटिंग एक्स्ट्रा वेजेस. सिंस you do not need 5 people to look after that small plot, 2 people moving out does not affect the production on their farm. मैंने अभी आपको ये चीज़ बताई कि जिन लोगों के काम नहीं करने से उस जगह की, उस प्लॉट की प्रोडक्टिविटी पे कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ रहा है, तो वो जो 2 पर्सन गए हैं वो कौन है, वो एक्स्ट्रा वर्किंग है. दे आर इन डिस्गाइज्ड अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. हमें उनको देख के ये लगता है कि हाँ ये काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन काम नहीं हो रहा है, प्रोडक्शन पे कोई फ़र्क नहीं है. ठीक है. 2 people may move to work in the factory. Once again, the earning of the family would increase and they would also continue to produce much from their land. Like Lakshmi, there are many farmers in India, those who are facing this problem of disguised unemployment. ठीक है, this is not the thing that only disguised employment can be seen under primary sector only, but this can be happen in other sectors also. ठीक है, इन अदर सेक्टर्स में कहाँ देख सकते हैं आप ये अंडर एम्प्लॉयमेंट का प्रॉब्लम. यू कैन सी देम इन कैजुअल वर्कर्स जो दिहाड़ी पे काम करते हैं. कैजुअल वर्कर्स में यू कैन सी देम अंडर द सर्विस सेक्टर, दैट इज़ इंडस्ट्रियल एरियाज में आप देख सकते हैं. द पीपल दोज हु आर वर्किंग फॉर द डेली एम्प्लॉयमेंट, दिहाड़ी डेली एम्प्लॉयमेंट को कहा जाता है. Alright, and which people used to come under this, like you have seen painters, plumbers, repair persons, the people those who are doing odd jobs. Okay, many of them do not find work every day, but similarly we see other people of the service sector on the street pushing a cart or selling something where they may spend the whole day but earn a very little amount. Okay, why the people are doing this? Because they are not getting good and better opportunities to work. All right, now how to solve this problem? What government can do to solve the problem of employment? All right, the government can spend some money, or banks can provide a loan to construct a well for द फैमिली लाइक लक्ष्मी. आपको मैंने बताया अभी, जैसे लक्ष्मी का हम एग्जाम्पल दे रहे थे, तो लक्ष्मी एक अनइरीगेटेड लैंड पे काम कर रही है, तो उसको फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल किस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है? शी नीड्स वाटर. तो अब उसको वाटर, वो रेन पे डिपेंडेंट है, तो गवर्नमेंट क्या कर सकती है? लक्ष्मी जैसे फार्मर्स के लिए वेल का इंतज़ाम करवा सकती है. ठीक है, so that they can able to irrigate their land and take the second crop. Like she is growing only two types of crop na, jowar and arhar. So now she should be able to grow some more kind of crop like wheat during the rabi season and so on. Okay, then government, suppose government can create opportunity for construction of a new dam, or canals can be dug, so that farmers can easily irrigate the farms over there, है ना. This could lead to lot of employment generation within the agriculture itself, reducing the problem of underemployment. ओके, फर्स्ट पॉइंट तो ये हो गया. सॉरी, सेकंड पॉइंट तो ये हो गया. फर्स्ट हमने बोला कि जैसे वो वेल्स बनवा सकते हैं, डैम्स बनवा सकते हैं, कैनल्स बनवा सकते हैं, सो दैट क्या एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन भी वहाँ पे हो जाएगा, और लोगों की जो ये इरिगेशन वाली प्रॉब्लम है वो भी सॉर्ट आउट हो जाएगी. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट व्हाट गवर्नमेंट कैन डू? गवर्नमेंट कैन इन्वेस्ट सम मनी इन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन and storage also for the crops, to make better roads, rural roads, or so that mini trucks can reach everywhere, to every farmer, and the people, those who can access water, can continue to grow and sell their crops. Okay, so the improvement in the transportation sector can also be done. Okay, now to cultivate the land, farmer needs seeds, fertilizers, agricultural equipments, pump sets to draw water. But being poor, they cannot afford so many things. Okay, so when they are having a lack of money, the people used to move towards the money lenders. You know, and what is a money lender? I have already explained you. So if bank can provide, if local bank can provide the credit at the reasonable rate of interest, then farmers will able to buy all these at the time of cultivation for their land. That means along with water, they also need to provide cheap agricultural credit to the farmers for farming to improve their condition. Okay, so how many points we have seen? We have seen 3 points. The first one is the water problem sorted out. Second, the transportation should be there. And third, they can provide it with the small credit loans. Loans can be provided to the farmers. Okay, now next can be another way by which we can tackle this problem is to identify and promote and locate the industries and services in semi-rural areas where large number of people can be employed. Okay, like setting up of mill to procure and process the products so that they can be sell in the cities. Okay, cold storage facility can be open for the farmers so that they can store the products like potatoes and onions. The villages which are near the forest area can start collecting honey. Honey collection centers can be open over there, so the farmers can come and sell the wild honey over there, right? It is possible to set up industries that process vegetables and agricultural produce like sweet potato, rice, wheat, tomato, fruits, which can be sold in outside market. What will happen with this?
This will provide employment in industries which are located in semi-rural areas and not necessarily in urban area. Okay, now I can say that you must be aware of right to education, that so many people in India, so many children in India actually are not getting the required education what it is needed for them. Okay, if all children are able to attend the school, we will require more buildings, more teachers and more staff, other staff obviously. And so by this we can say, if we calculate it according to the planning commission, it is said that in education sector only around 20 lakh jobs can be created. Okay, similarly we talk about health sector, health situation. To improvise the health situation, we need more doctors, more health workers, nurses, etc. So which can work to the rural areas. Okay, in these ways we can create a number of employment opportunities, so that it would be able to address the important aspects of development. Okay, to create these employments, or to create or to take up some kind of steps, the central government in India made a law named as Right to Work in 200 districts of India, and then it was extended to an additional 130 districts almost. The remaining districts in rural areas were brought under this act with the uh, effect from 1st April 2008. Okay, and it is called as National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which was started in 2005, that is called NREGA. Under NREGA, in 9th standard also you have studied about this. Under NREGA, all those who are able to work and all those who are in need of work, they have a guarantee employment of 100 days in a year by the government. If the government falls or fails in this duty to provide the employment, it will give unemployment allowances to the people. The types of work that would in future help to increase the production from land will be given preference under this act. Let's move towards the next topic, that is division of sectors as organized and unorganized. अब ये इस टॉपिक को मैं आपको बिल्कुल एक सिंपल एग्जांपल से एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ, सो जस्ट लिसन वेरी केयरफुली विद दिस. ओके, देयर आर टू पीपल, दो पर्सन है, एक कांता है, एक कमल है. ओके, कांता इज वर्किंग इन एन ऑफिस. ओके, शी अटेंड्स हर ऑफिस फ्रॉम 9:30 to 5:30 PM. ठीक है, शी गेट्स हर सैलरी रेगुलर एट द एंड ऑफ एवरी मंथ. ओके, इन एडिशन टू द सैलरी, she also gets provident fund as per the rules by the government. She gets medical and other allowances, privileges, benefits. Kanta does not go to office on Sunday. This is a paid holiday. Okay, when she joined the work, she was given an appointment letter stating all the terms and conditions for work. Am I clear? Now, there is another boy called Kamal. Kamal is Kanta's neighbor. He is a daily wage labor in a nearby grocery shop. He goes to the shop at 7:30 in the morning and works till 8 o'clock in the evening. He gets no other benefits apart from his wages. He is not paid for the days he does not work. He has therefore no leave or paid holiday. Nor was he given any formal letter saying that he has been employed in the shop. He can be asked to leave any time by his employer. नाउ कैन यू सी द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू टाइप्स ऑफ वर्किंग? क्या डिफरेंस आपको समझ में आया मैंने जो आपको बताया स्टोरी उसमें? कांता एक ऑफिस में काम कर रही है, उसको वहाँ पे एक लिमिटेड टाइम के लिए काम करना पड़ रहा है. शी इज़ वर्किंग, हर वर्किंग आवर्स आर फिक्स्ड. ओके, फिर उसको हर मंथ के एंड में सैलरी भी मिल जाती है. उसको सैलरी के अलावा कुछ ना कुछ बेनिफिट्स भी दिए हुए हैं. कांता को संडे को ऑफिस नहीं जाना पड़ता है, पर उसके उस चीज़ के पैसे नहीं कटते हैं. ठीक है. उसके अलावा भी उसको कुछ बेनिफिट्स दिए हुए हैं. उसको अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर दिया था जब उसने जॉब स्टार्ट की. लेकिन कमल को क्या बेनिफिट मिल रहा है? कमल को कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है. और उसके वर्किंग आवर्स बहुत ज़्यादा हैं कमल के. ठीक है. वो डेली वेज वर्कर पे काम कर रहा है, मतलब उसको रोज़ का पैसा मिलता है. जिस दिन वो काम पे नहीं जाता उस दिन उसको पैसा नहीं मिलता है. राइट. तो ये सारी चीज़ें किस चीज़ के बीच में डिफरेंस दिखाती है? दैट मीन्स कांता इज़ वर्किंग इन एन ऑर्गेनाइज्ड सेक्टर एंड कमल इज़ वर्किंग इन एन अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड सेक्टर. ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर वो जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट को, जो टर्म्स ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट को पूरा करता हो. ठीक है. जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट के अकॉर्डिंग काम होता हो. ठीक है. वहाँ उसको वेजेस प्रॉपरली मिलते हों, उसकी सिक्योरिटी हो जॉब की. ठीक है. उसको सैलरी के अलावा जहाँ पे बेनिफिट्स मिलते हों, एक लिमिटेड टाइम के लिए वर्किंग हो. ठीक है. ये सारी चीज़ें ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर में होती हैं. लेकिन द पीपल दोज हु आर वर्किंग इन एन अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड सेक्टर, those people are facing a lot of problems because they are not controlled by the government. And the people those who are running the business, their rules and regulations the employer has to employee has to follow. ठीक है. There is no involvement of the government over there, and people those who are working in unorganized sector are mostly exploited by their bosses. All right. Their employment is not secure. They can asked to leave without any reason. कभी भी उनको बाहर कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. And when there is less work, such as during some seasons, some people may be asked to leave. All right. A lot also depends on the whims of employer. This sector includes a large number of people, unorganized sector, who are employed on their own doing small jobs such as selling on street and doing repair work. Similarly, farmers work on their own and hire laborers as and when they require. So this is the difference between organized and unorganized sector. Now if I ask you the question that how we can protect the workers in unorganized sector, so what can be the reasons, what can be the situations where we can protect the workers, those who are working in unorganized sector? In the rural areas, the unorganized sector mostly comprises of landless agricultural laborers, small and marginal farmers, artisans, etc. Nearly 80% of rural households in India are in small and marginal farmer category. These farmers need to be supported through adequate facility for timely delivery of seeds, agricultural inputs, credit, storage facility and marketing outlets. Okay. Small scale industries also needs government support for collecting raw material and marketing of output or the finished product. The casual workers in both rural and urban areas are need to be protected. Besides getting the irregular and low paid work, these workers also face social discrimination, protection, and support to the unorganized sector workers is thus necessary for both economic and social development. As you have seen that there are so many people, those who are working in unorganized sector, they need to be protected by the government and rules and regulations so that we can stop their exploitation in their job place. Now we will move towards the next topic and the last topic of this chapter, that is the sectors in terms of ownership divided into two, that is public and private sector. Now, what do you mean by public sector and private sector? Public sector are those sector which owns by the government, and the government owns most of their assets and provide all the services. In private sector, ownership of the assets and delivery of services is in the hand of private individuals and companies. For example, railways, post office are the examples of public sector, and Tata Iron and Steel Company, या Reliance Industries are the example of privately owned companies. Okay. There are several things which is needed by the society, but which the private sector will not provide at the reasonable cost. Some of these spend large sums of money which is beyond the capacity of a private sector. Also, collecting money from thousands of people who use these facilities is not easy. Even if they do provide these things, they would charge a very high rate of their use. For example, construction of roads, bridge, railways, harbors, generating electricity, providing irrigation through dams, etc. Government has to take these heavy spending and ensure that these facilities are available to everyone. पब्लिक और प्राइवेट में सबसे बड़ा डिफरेंस यही होता है कि जो पब्लिक सेक्टर की चीज़ें होती हैं या ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस होती हैं वो पीपल के वेलफेयर के लिए होती है, पीपल बेनिफिट के लिए होती है. लेकिन जितनी भी प्राइवेट होती हैं, प्राइवेट ऑलवेज हैव अ प्रॉफिट मोटिव. They are not working for social welfare, but they are working for earning for their pockets. Okay, so it is better to have both the facilities in the market so that everyone, every category of person can afford the facilities for major things. I hope we have completed this chapter in a clarified form. आपको ये चैप्टर पूरी तरीके से समझ आ गया होगा. You have to do the NCERT questions which I am going to send you along with the extra questions in a form of a worksheet. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.